influenced me in different ways, you know, like being like a real mean guy or something. No, no, but no, it's just he was just a big impact on me, like as a person, I guess, you know, more than anything else. And the music is more influenced by classical music, but the hard edge is definitely my influence from Deep Purple. You know, I always wanted to have a hard edge and everything, and but have a melodic and classical influence, you know. Well, you know, I mean, I still remember some of the things. I mean, I used to know every solo he did, like in Deep Purple and Japan and Fireball and all those things. And I don't remember everything exactly anymore, but you know, I used to, you know, yeah. Yeah. Which one? All right, try to do Demon's Eye. I like it. Stuff like that, and you know, like Man Japan. What was that? Stuff like that, you know, like the old. You know, like that style of things. I always thought was really cool. You know, when I was a kid, I was like the only thing that meant anything to me, really. Don't remember everything now. Now we're going to talk a little bit about four-string arpeggios, and I'll do an example for you. It's in B minor once again. Now you can see my right hand doing the same thing again. All right? Four-string arpeggio is not something I use very often at all, and it's maybe the least useful one because it's more like a chord you hold. You know, you can't release each string. So the three-string and the five-string, I think, the best. Okay, now I'm going to show you something that I use very frequently. It's a five-string arpeggio, and this one is an A minor. Here it is slow. There you go. I will show you this arpeggio once more, but now you can see what the right hand does. Here we go. And here it is slow. Well, what it is root, third, fifth octave, third, fifth octave. Like this. Most of the time, you know. Well, the first thing that's very important is that once you have played one note and the next one occurs, you have to release the note before. Like, otherwise it's going to sound like a strum, you know, like that, which you don't want that. It takes a lot of practice, you know, but once you have it, it's like a violin technique, you know, bowing thing, almost. Okay, here's an example from the song Far Beyond the Sun from my album Rising Force. Okay, here's an example of a 6-string arpeggio in E major, which is not very useful, but you can do it if you want, something like this. And that would be slow. Okay, here's sort of like an improvised example of utilizing 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 strings for arpeggios. This is in A minor mostly. Well, I've always, like, one of the reasons, it was 2 reasons I wanted to play guitar. One reason was because I loved the music, and the other reason was because I thought that Hendrix and Blackmore and those guys, they looked so cool, and I wanted to look cool, you know. And in order to look cool, you gotta do a lot of tricks on stage, like throw the guitar around and play with your teeth and all that stuff. And I worked a hell of a lot on that stuff, you know. That's something that I've worked on almost as much as my playing, and not quite as much. But, okay. Do a little Van Halen on my teeth there. Well, it depends what you mean with being on stage. I played with a friend of mine. He was a drummer, and it was just me and a drummer. And I played through like an old tube radio, but it was quite loud anyway. That must have been about 1973, no, 70, maybe 72. You know, it was in school. You know, in there where people eat. You know, set up in there. That was the first time I played in front of a lot of people. I don't, 25 people or something. And but then I started, like, I joined some bands when I was about 11 years old. I was in bands with people that were like 20, 25 and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a, people were going like, oh, who's that little kid, type of thing. So I've always been on stage, as long as I can remember. That's hard to... there are thousands of shows I've done. I mean, this is very difficult to remember. I mean, the ones that I remember probably the most are the ones that were the worst ones, like when people threw balls at me or mazed me or something like that, you know. But you know, most of the time when I'm on stage, it's always very good, you know. Like, I always try so hard, and I always try to get into a certain mood. So, like, you know, very rarely I come off stage and feeling it was a bad show. Most of the time I come off thinking it was pretty good, you know. But, you know, funny things have happened, you know, like people running up on stage and, you know, weird things like that. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about what is called tapping. And obviously that's what more or less made Eddie Van Halen famous, and he did it very nicely. However, he sort of like limited it to like that, whereas I like to do like things where the right hand actually works a lot more, and I like to do it in more different movements, like or in arpeggio. So I think that's where I do it differently, you know. Tapping is not something I do very often, however, but we can still talk about it. I do, but it's very rare, you know. It's not. I don't do it a lot at all, you know. I've always found it a little bit limiting in a way, and I always like to play more of the left hand, you know, and make the, you know. But sometimes it comes in handy, you know. Okay, yeah. If you just touch the string exactly 12 frets above it, but you don't press it down at all. You just touch it, like you do like this. It's a neat effect, you know. And the album Magnum Opus, I have a song there named after my beautiful wife, actually, Amber Dawn. There's a quite good example of it there. It goes.